I'll be honest, I thought I was too late to the party when it comes to Among Us to actually make any content around it. By the time I started playing the game, it had already been a big fad for like a month or two, and I figured it was going to start petering out in popularity. Plus, LavenderTowne had basically already made the kind of video that I wanted to make for it, turning Among Us characters into anime characters or cartoons. Great videos by her, by the way, I'll link them in the description below. But anyway, I've been really enjoying the game, it's great, it's simple, anyone can really play it, and I've still been getting lots of people requesting that I do something related to the game, so I was like, alright, I'll do a classic PopCross Studios thing with it, and turn Among Us characters into superheroes. And this will be one of my single story kinds of episodes, like my X-Men Teen Titan Fusion episodes, where I tell one long story involving all of the characters that I'm designing in the episode. I'm also taking inspiration from Among Us characters wearing different hats, but that was just to add a little bit more visual inspiration to my character designs. It's been a while since I did a single story episode, so if you're excited for that, hitting the like button is always super helpful for algorithm reasons. And if you're new here, you may want to subscribe, because I do lots of fun stuff like this twice a week. And we're trying to get to 250k subscribers by Christmas, if possible. No pressure though, I hope everyone enjoys the video regardless, and we can jump right in now. Let's go! Come on, Vi, where are you? Blackmagic muttered anxiously as he stood with 8 other members of his team in the open hangar of their ship. After a nerve-wracking moment, leaping over a mound of rocks on the extraterrestrial landscape finally came Violet Vigilant. The team at first cheered, before seeing the swarms of snarling aliens charging after her. "Start the ship!" Blackmagic yelled. Teal Tyrant sprinted to navigation and revved up the engine. The ship hovered a foot above the ground as Violet bolted toward them. As she leapt into the hangar, Blackmagic waved his hands, overriding the machinery with a spell, and he slammed the door shut, just before an alien could leap inside. The ship shot off towards Earth, but it would be a long journey home. While on the ship and headed for home, Violet was unsure about the true safety of her team after the day's events. They'd been out to rescue one of their own, White Wind, who'd taken on a solo mission on an alien world and gotten in a little over his head. When the team arrived to rescue him, they were ambushed and separated. Luckily, Blackmagic had found White Wind, and the team had all eventually found their way back to the ship. Or at least, that's the way it seemed. "Blackmagic, can I have a word?" Violet said after the team had debriefed. "Yeah, what's up?" She looked around, making sure others on the team weren't nearby. She was even hesitant to go to Magic with this, but she needed to talk to someone. "Those aliens, you saw it too, right? They were shapeshifters." "Yeah, while I was fighting one of them off, it grew 2 extra sets of arms and nearly tore me apart." "Right, well, what if they can do more than just grow limbs?" She looked around anxiously again. "How do we know the White Wind we brought back is really him? Heck, we were all separated. How do we know any of us are really who we say we are?" A cold look crossed Blackmagic's face, but before he could say anything, a blaring alarm started to ring across the ship. Blackmagic tapped the communicator on his wrist. "Teal, what's going on?" "What isn't?" Teal said. "We've got dozens of malfunctions all across the ship just popping up out of nowhere. Can you fix them?" "Not alone, not fast enough anyway." "Okay, dole out the tasks to the team. We'll do this together." He tapped his comm again and looked back at Violet. "I hope this is a coincidence, but you might be right, so keep an eye out." Blackmagic ran from the room as Teal called out tasks to each member of the team, and they all went to work. Violet ran for one of the ship's circuit breakers to reset it, but all the while was shooting glances over her shoulders for her teammates. Every extra second doing the task got her more and more nervous. Her heart stopped as Red Wretch raced into the room. "You still on circuits, Vi? Step it up, I've already fixed." Before she could finish her sentence, Blackmagic's voice sternly came over the comms. "Everyone, stop what you're doing and go to the cafeteria, now. White Wind has been murdered." Violet's heart pounded as she stood in the circle with her teammates, all looking at the slain body of the man they'd just worked so hard to rescue. A hole was pierced straight through his helmet and his head. Violet tuned back in just as Blackmagic was finishing his explanation to the others. "And so, unfortunately, we must accept that there is an imposter in our midst, and it could be any one of us. All were quiet for a moment, but there was no time to waste. The ship was still critically malfunctioning. They needed answers fast. Green Guyan, the team's youngest and newest recruit, chimed in first. "Where did you find his body?" "Here," Black Magic said. "I was on my way to navigation to see Teal." Red Wretch burst out. "Well, not to point fingers, Spellboy, but how do we know you didn't just kill him then call it in to throw us all off?" Before Black Magic could answer, Pink Plasma jumped in to his defense. "I was running next to him on my way to storage. I know he didn't do it, but what's your excuse, Wretch? Of everyone, I'd be least surprised to find out you turned on us." "Why? Because I dress like a devil? It's a costume to intimidate villains, Pink. Back off. Besides, we're looking for an imposter. Don't you think they'd want to be inconspicuous? If I were them, I would have replaced Greenie here." Everyone looked at Green Guyan. "No, I swear I was with Brown Bastion." Bastion nodded. "Kid's right. What about you, Teal? Can anyone vouch for you? Not to accuse you, but you could have easily left navigation for a second, then gotten back before anyone noticed." "That's true, but Red Wretch was with me, right, Red?" Red looked confused, and then angry. "I mean, I briefly passed you, but I was with Vi when we got the call." Everyone glared back at Teal. "No, but you were with me long enough to... You know that I didn't." Red cracked her neck. "Got you, faker." She leapt over the table and slammed a fist into Teal's helmet. Violet was going to leap in and stop her, but Teal's stomach suddenly warped open into a giant mouth with razor teeth and a flailing long tongue. The tongue shot at Red, who ducked under it and swung another blow into the creature's leg, knocking it to the floor. She readied up for another hit when Black Magic swung his hands in a glowing aura, and the thing vanished. Violet looked around. What did you do to it?" He gestured towards the window. They all peered out to see the creature writhing through space as it floated off into nothingness. "Heads on a swivel, everyone. We gotta get this ship fixed. But who knows? There could be more of them." Having one creature gone didn't make Violet feel any better. Who knows how many there could be? It could even be half the team for all she knew. She was finishing up a task in the navigations room, then headed for Shields when she heard a nervous cry that stopped her. "No, no, no! Oh, Violet, I need your help!" Violet looked into the weapons room where Green Guyan was shaking next to the controls. "We're headed straight for an asteroid belt, and I was supposed to shoot a path through it, but my aim is terrible. Can you do it?" She paused for a moment. Green Guyan was too new to the team for her to know if he was acting strangely, and worse still, his powers involved shape-shifting, so an imposter could easily replicate that to fool others even further. Still though, she looked up at the screen, and he was right, they were headed for trouble. She cautiously leapt into the chair and grabbed the controls. Guyan stood behind her, clasping the seat. She felt like someone was holding a block of ice to her neck. She shook as she began blasting out a path, every second feeling like hours. Any moment she thought something would pierce through her head from behind, but it never did. Finally, she shot the last of the debris from their path, and she quickly jumped out of the chair and whipped around. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go see what else needs to be done." He thrust his arms out and they shifted into a bundle of thick vines. He flung them upwards and swung himself into another room. She started to bolt after him to watch where he went, but as she moved into the cafeteria, she noticed something. On the floor next to her, a vent was sitting wide open. Nobody had said anything about vents being broken, but maybe something new had arisen? Or maybe a shapeshifter was using them to get around. A human couldn't fit in there, but something that could change sizes certainly could. That vent led to two places, so she went to investigate. The first vent in the hallway was still closed, so she went to the next one in admin. She stepped in and was startled to see Black Magic looking quite flustered, standing pretty close to the vent. "Oh, Violet, perfect timing. Do you have your team card? I can't find mine, but I need it to fix this." "You don't know where yours is?" She looked up to the vent. It was closed, but he could have closed it. "I know, I'm sorry. I must have lost it on the mission, but I really need one." She started to back away. "Violet, what do you... Oh, do you think... No, Violet, I swear, I really..." She ran from the room, but after getting a few meters away, she realized that he wasn't chasing her, or even calling after her for that fact. Nervously, she stopped and crept back towards the room. She peered in and instinctively gasped. Whoops, Red Wretch said, standing next to the now open vent over the corpse of Black Magic. Busted, I guess. Violet swung her wrist up to tap her comms, but in a flash, a tendril flung from Wretch's arm and slashed the device in half. Let's handle this just the two of us, shall we? Another tendril flung from Wretch's body straight towards Violet. Violet emitted a purple aura from her hand and grabbed the tendril. She yanked it, but it just tore off her foe, who barely seemed to notice. Red Wretch's whole body shifted and warped, and her voice became eerie and demonic. I was gonna take out the green kid next, but I guess you've jumped up the list. Her stomach ripped open, revealing a jagged maw, and her long, gangly tongue jolted towards Violet. But instead of striking her, it grabbed Violet around the waist and swung her into the room. The imposter closed the door, then turned back to her prey. Violet picked herself up. How many of you are there? I mean, I could tell you just two, but would you really believe me anyway? Not that it matters what you know. Red's suit burst at the wrists and legs, and her knees bent back into hound-like legs, and claws jutted from her hands. She leapt forward, her stomach mouth agape. Violet rammed her aura-coated fist straight into its mouth. The imposter tried to chomp down, but her ability held. Where is the actual Red Wretch and Teal Tyrant? So many questions. I'd focus on surviving if I were you. Her needle-like tongue suddenly swung out and shot straight through Violet's shoulder. She yelped and fell back to the floor, scuttering away from the imposter. She had to get back up. Her comm was dead, but if she could get to the cafeteria, she could use the loudspeaker. There was no way this thing could take her whole team at once. She activated auras on both her feet and sprung herself as far as she could over her foe towards the door. But once more, the tongue thrust up and pierced through her leg. She crashed to the ground and rolled to the door. It slid open, but she could barely move. With her uninjured arm and leg, she tried pulling herself along the ground, but she barely got to the cafeteria entrance before the imposter stomped down on her stomach. A good effort, human, but you're no match for our kind. She glanced across the room to the table where the speaker button was. She would never get there, but maybe she didn't have to. She had one shot at this. Clenching through the pain, she sprung auras from both arms and grabbed her foe's leg. Her shoulder seared with pain, but she swung upwards and the creature hurtled across the room. Its back thudded right onto the comms button. Violet yelled at the top of her lungs, "Imposter in the cafeteria!" The thing leapt up. No! It charged towards Violet again, who braced, but nothing came. When she looked back, the imposter was flailing, held in the air by a barrage of vines, coming from Green Gaian. The rest of the team quickly entered the room. It was all over for the imposter, and Violet counted it as a win, but the thought still lingered, a repeating sentence echoing through her brain. Are there more of them among us? Sorry. And so, there you have it. Among Us characters as superheroes. I'm gonna make a poster from the art in this episode, but instead of making 4 individual ones, I'm gonna do it the same way I did the Disney Assassin's Creed episode and make one poster with all 4 drawings on it. By the time you're watching this, that should be available in a little bar underneath this video, along with a bunch of my other posters and inks and stuff like that. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope I wasn't too late to the Among Us party, because I really did have fun making this. And I realized after I had made this that this was just me adding to my video game content that I've been doing over the last little while. If you're new to the channel, I've recently done famous video game characters as beasts, video game consoles as Transformers, Nintendo characters if they were Spider-Man Miles Morales villains, and lots of other video game stuff. I got a playlist that'll link in the end card. And I got another video game focused episode that I've been waiting to do for a while, planned for Monday, because Cyberpunk is finally coming out next week. But anyway, everybody, that's all for today. I'm Christian Pearson. This has been PopCross Studios, home of the nerdiest art videos on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you're having a good December so far, and I'll see you all in the next video on Monday. Goodbye.